So this is my Monday night, or Tuesday night for us review of Raw. Like this episode was all about the hate. Like a really great episode. I really enjoyed it. Like this felt like an episode of Raw like last year, like between from like Jan to March. Like it had that special feel to it. So let's start with the first segment, that is CM Punk comes out to the ring, and I like the way that he talked about his future. Like he explained everything. Like he said that maybe he can go towards the route of the Royal Rumble. Maybe he can finish his story, teasing Cody. That way, maybe Elimination Chamber can be the fork of the road that he goes through. But one thing that's on his mind is that he said, without saying the word, is the World Championship. And if he doesn't get the World Championship through those means, he has a favor or two to call with Paul Heyman. So we know the favor is essentially for a world title shot in the future. I really like because first, this kind of opens up many possibilities for Punk. Oh no, Punk, he's probably going to be in the Rumble. Maybe he's in the number one contenders elimination chamber. Who is he going to face? He made a Cody reference. Maybe he's going after him. So he mentioned Paul Heyman, who he has a favor with. It makes us excited about Punk, but it also makes us excited for those events as well. Because CM Punk is going to be in the Rumble. CM Punk maybe in the Elimination Chamber. And just as he's about to go on and he's about to say that, you people, you join me in this journey, Rollins comes up. And Rollins is like that I should have put you down the night that I came into the WWE, or I should have put you down after Bad Blood, because calling back when CM Punk came after Bad Blood and he said that he wasn't sure about his future, and Seth Rollins interrupted him, laughed at him, and went to the ring, and the stuff with Bronson Reed and all. So he said that I took pity on you, but now I'm going to finish you off. And Punk is like I just said that I am beyond the personal stuff, like, and especially about the stuff that I don't even think about. Like like Seth Rollins, like he had a really great line where he said that. And then Seth, Seth Rollins said that he got much more angry because CM Punk was teaming up with the Bloodline, especially with Roman Reigns, and that angered him more. He was standing there victorious with him, but Punk again explained, "I did a favor for a friend. I cared about you because you had the title 6 months ago. I don't care about you at all." Further angering Seth more and more and more, and he was said like, "Yeah, let's go for it." And he started fighting with Punk, and then Jay and Sammy interrupted, and Seth was like, "Yeah, go to Roman." Like he essentially said like, "You dogs, go back to your master, go to Roman Reigns." When they took Punk out to the ring, Jay left Punk, and uh, then Sammy said, "Wait. Like Sammy actually put up a good point that he didn't want to tag with Punk. He wanted to tag with Seth, but Seth was stubborn. But Seth had a great point. Like, tag for what? So to get Roman his power back, which he literally gave his title and his body to make sure Cody finished his story and Roman's reign of terror ended, and he made a great point in that. But then Sammy again he hit him with the you know he became a monster because of you, because of 10 years ago you stabbed him in the back with a chair. And Seth was like, I have already accepted it. I think Seth actually caught Sammy off guard because he said, I have actually accepted my faults. Like, I have apologized for it and I have atoned for it because he did atone for it. He played a major part in ending Roman's empire. The most essential part, the most major part, because Roman couldn't let go of the past, went for the chair, and rest is history, as they say. But and he also said that, but well, Jay is his family. Like we can get it. Like families fight, they come back together. It's in the blood. Like Sammy, like Roman has not changed. Like Roman has not apologized to Jay, Sammy, or anyone, be it Cody. And and in a way you can say it was his naivety, it was his gullibility, and it was because of his emotions that Sammy went to Roman. And you can see this, they have booked this also very perfectly because remember, whenever they were in doubt, whenever Sammy or Jay were in doubt, where Sammy wanted him to apologize to him, there always used to be these scenarios where, even if they were kind of like, like maybe we should join Roman, they had to help because they had that emotion behind them. Because Solo attacked Jay, or Solo and the bloodline and the new bloodline attacked all of the bloodline. So they were like, I had to go and save them. Jay was like, I had to because he was my brother. I had to do something. And Sammy was also like they were beating everyone. Like he had to save him, and then you know it worked in Roman's favor. And you can also say that Roman was also a mastermind. Like he he always found the right moment to not apologize, and still was like yeah, he put his finger up like yeah, we are back together. Like you can play that in the future also, like how Roman is smartly manipulating people again because he's finding he's he's being distant with them. He's not apologizing. He's like, I don't want to get back with you. But when it's the right moment and he realizes he needs the help in the right situation, he suddenly is like you're my brother again. Like be it with Jimmy, when Jimmy came back and he helped him in the Cody match, and he hugged him. Like be it with Jay, when Jay helped him, when Sammy helped him. So he did that. Even when Punk helped him in the Bronson match, you can say if it's not for him, he doesn't help anyone else. He doesn't. You can say that Roman, he doesn't care about the bloodline. He only cares about himself because it always has been like beatdowns on him where the other person comes and saves him, and then he's like, yeah, we're back. It's not like they're beating someone else and then the Roman sees from the distance that he's helping that person of his bloodline, and he's like, yeah, I accept you. It's always when it's his position in danger, when he has to surrender, when he is getting beat up, that happens. So I mean, I went on a tangent, but getting back to the topic, then Sammy was like, he kind of shut Sammy up. Sammy was like, okay, you want to let out your frustration, let's have a match tonight. And Seth was shaking his head, okay, man, let's do it. Because from Seth's perspective, you cannot fault him because it's like right now, like Kevin, Drew, and Seth are the only people in WWE that are like why are you helping Roman? Like, have you all forgotten what he did? Like, they cannot understand why these people are helping him, and because of that, you know, they're right in that. But then they go too far. Like Drew went too far. Like Drew was right in saying not to trust Jay, but then he did not only hit Jay, but he betrayed everyone of the good guys, and he joined with a faction as evil as Bloodline, the Judgment Day, just so he can get revenge on Jey Uso. Kevin Owens, like he was right, that why was Cody helping the Bloodline? But he went too far. He pile drive Randy Orton, and eventually this will lead to a set turn, which I think going forward when we discuss some other things which happened in the show, which will make him much more angry. Now going forward, there was a Judgment Day segment backstage, which was essentially Finn being like Finn boasting about hey, getting Damien, and Liv was like, you said you won't hit, you will stay away from Damien, but Finn was like, your boy toy Dom over there, he wasn't able to get the job done, so I had to get the job done, and if you had listened to me, you wouldn't have been in such like a down position going against Io Sky at SNME. And then I like how every week, like, this is a good story. It's just that the Judgment Day has been handled so badly after SummerSlam. Like they have been neutered so much, but in a way, then I think like even if they weren't neutered, like would you take a faction which has, you know, apart from like Finn, like Carlito, JD, big hair JD and Dom. Seriously, like, would they seem like serious threats? But they still like they were beaten for months, and now they're doing this again like a slow breakup storyline, which is kind of repetitive because we kind of did some stop start Judgment Day breakup storylines when in the original Judgment Day also, but this time it's also, you can say, like Finn is becoming the man he hated because Finn used his catchphrase like again, like if you listen to Finn you win, and then he walked off, and you can see that Dom is not that happy about it. I mean, why does Raquel speak? Like whenever Raquel speaks, or whenever she has an expression on her face apart from just like resting bitch face, like she just seems like a very funny individual. Like not like I'm laughing at her jokes. I'm laughing at her face. Like she doesn't seem serious that much. She shouldn't speak. And you know, JD doesn't have a problem because Finn is his mentor. He will follow him. You know, without a word. Carlito is the dumb guy, so he doesn't have a mind that he can care or not care. So Carlito was also like, did we can we have a big hug because he has a crush on Raquel, and then it ended and they moved on. Then they had the Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Damage Control match, which I think was a standard tag. I like I like Kyrie Sane's elbow. Like people saying that Kyrie Sane's wash. Maybe her singles matches. She's not having singles matches, but she doesn't look like she has done any botches or she's missing any beats in the ring. Like she did her insane elbow. Liv tackled her. Then you know you know then Io gave her a suicide dive to the outside, which resulted in Raquel, giving him a, what's that called, Takana bomb or something, and winning the match. I don't like people getting so early after the insane elbow, but okay, it was needed. They won the match. Then after the match, Rhea Ripley came out. Like that, I really like that spot where they pushed her, her side of the face to the announce table. I think they're doing this to kind of write her out till Saturday night's main event. Oh no, they're not doing that because next week it's Rhea versus Raquel. You know, again, I don't know how many months it has been since Rhea has wrestled on TV. It's been a lot of days. So, I mean, Triple H is trying to make this match work. It hasn't worked beat in NXT. Let's see how it goes here. So, that was that, and then And yeah, Liv versus EO is happening at SNME. For now, like 3 matches have been announced. Oh no, let's go forward and talk about that. Then the next segment was like I keep forgetting stuff like this. I may go out of order a little, but please, give me some leeway. So I think the next segment was I think the women's uh, I think the women's intercontinental championship tournament match, which was Dakota Kai versus uh, Casey Catanzaro versus Shayna Baszler of the PFC, and it was a very fast-paced match because I watched it without the ads between the matches because I watched the full show at noon. So at noon or like 11, 12. So I watched some clips before, but I watched the full show without the mid-match ads. So it was like a fast-paced match. Like I like Casey when she shit talked a bit. Like she had some heel energy about her, but she's a face, but she did well. Like her high flying moves were very good. Like people were really into Dakota Kai. I like that. I think because she has had a presence for a lot of time. She's naturally, if you see, she's a natural baby face like Bailey. Like they have revived their careers through heel turns or like heel parts of their career, but their natural state is of a babyface. And I think because of her no her damage control days and her natural ability to have that people like her. You beat her in ring ability, beat her babyface character. I think people are really into her. Shayna was also fine in the match. I think really looking at Shayna, it's like you don't even. I like that these titles have come because because we know the formula to revive Shayna Baszler. It's essentially she one day she she starts attacking PFC. She breaks one of their fingers or legs or something, and then she goes on a rampage attacking whosoever she thinks, because of which her career has gone downhill. Maybe her tag team with Nia Jax, beat her feud with Alexa Bliss, maybe with Becky, maybe with, then you can build her up, and instead of because you had the women's championship before, and maybe you could not build her to that extent because of her losing past. You still have that mid card championship which you can build her to, and you can then make her like a bankable star again, I think. And then the ending was she I think Casey hit. I think I don't remember what was it. I think Casey hit Shayna with a flying senton. I don't know what she did. I think Casey hit Shayna with a flying senton. Then Dakota came and hit a finisher on Casey and won, and she advanced. Looking at the bracket, I won't be surprised if they have Natalia win and not Kyrie win. But I think it would be interesting. I think next week the Lyra versus Zelina versus Ivy Nile match that's going to happen. I think Zelina and Ivy, because of the LWO American Made stick, are going to get distracted, and I think Lyra is going to win the match. And I think between Dakota and Lyra, Dakota will win. I think this will result in a lose of confidence for Lyra, and I think on the January 1st episode, the Netflix premiere, Becky will come back and will be kind of like the mentor to Lyra, and I see like Liv losing the title on the Netflix premiere to Rhea, and then you can immediately slot in Liv and Raquel to the tag team divisions, have them win the titles, then have like a multi-woman tag match, or like you can have like a straight away tag match also against Becky and Lyra, and I see Becky and Lyra being the tag champions at WrestleMania as the eventual team. I think that's going to be the focus. I think that's going to be the match that happens at WrestleMania, and I think EO is losing at SNME. I know people are going to go mad, but I think it's probably because Rhea is going to come out to take care of Raquel, but some confusion happens and Liv wins. Netflix premiere, you get Rhea the title, EO wins the Rumble, you get Rhea versus EO at Mania, and then you can have EO win the title. I think it will be nice if the IC title has like Dakota versus Kyrie in the finals, but I think they'll probably have Dakota versus Natalia or Dakota versus a straight heel in the finals. But I think it will be nice if you have Dakota versus Kyrie in the finals, because then you can go off and have have EO busy with the Rhea match, so that she is not having her eye on damage control, and you can have, whenever Asuka gets cleared, a triple threat match: Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Asuka at Mania for the women's IC title. I think that's the story that I would personally prefer going forward. Then next, it was the I think I'll talk about the backstage stuff. Like Pete Dunne was backstage. He was talking about, oh, Butch. Don't call me Butch. I think we were beyond that, because Sheamus, he kind of buried him. They had a great match, but he pinned him with both hands on his back. But he was like on Insta, he was like, now he's Pete Dunne, so I think they'll move on from it. But it it has caught on with the crowd. Pete Dunne at least has something which the crowd likes. R-Truth anyway people like, and then they had a match which R-Truth won. It popped the crowd. It wasn't for me, but I think the plans that they had for Pete Dunne was with, tagging with Tyler Bate, but he got injured. So they're like treading water. I think maybe after Ludwig Kaiser has his feud with Braun Breaker, maybe you can get Pete Dunne into the mix there. Because I think this is going to be like an undercard feud, like Pete Dunne and Arthur, which with Pete Dunne eventually winning, and I think you can have like a number one contenders battle royal after you know the Ludwig match, and have Pete Dunne win it. You can have a nice little story out of it. Give Pete some props. Give Braun an easy win. Then go forward with Braun. With I think probably Braun and Ludwig have a match with Sheamus coming out in the middle. Braun wins. You get a Sheamus versus Ludwig program, and I think eventually it will be Sheamus versus Braun in a singles match at Mania, with Sheamus winning the IC title. I think that's the plan going forward. Then it was the New Day segment. Like, like, if these type of segments beat the first segment of the night, and especially this segment is like, the words that come out of my mouth are, "That is why I'm a wrestling fan." Like, like this I can show this segment to someone and be like, this is why you should watch wrestling. Like, you don't need to know about the history of New Day. You can just watch the video package before the New Day celebration and watch what they say, which I think will be enough to get you invested, at least not as much as a regular watching person, but a little bit, like that you will also be like, what? And you will you can be anyone, but the phrase that you broke your neck, so what? I was like, whoa, like, what? You broke your neck, so what? Like, it was essentially, the segment was Adam Pearce came out. They had good things on the stage. The ring was like kind of like very haphazardly set up. It was like someone said, the anniversary is tomorrow, we have to set something. They set something up. Interestingly, they had the cape. They didn't have the original crown because Roman broke it. And then they had the two pictures, which was of Biggie and Kofi winning the world championship, and the third photo was the trios having the tag title, but not they did not have the picture of Xavier with the King of the Ring, which I thought was a nice touch, kind of like also showing us that Xavier has not won a singles title. Like, it was a really great, visual type of storytelling, which I really liked. And I think he comes out, and then he gives the mic to Kofi and Xavier, and they are like, we are very thankful for, it would have been possible without you. And then they were about to, call that they were about to break up, but then Biggie comes out. After 4 years on Raw, it has been 4 years since Biggie has been on Raw, and then Biggie is like, we cannot just throw it away. I'll be your manager. And Xavier is like, why now? Like, why when we are at the breaking point? And I will give you both the perspectives, be it from Biggie's and be it from the rest of the New Day. Like, in a way, Xavier has a point. Like, you were doing the pre-shows at the Money in the Bank. You were doing pre-shows earlier. Like, you were on the Slammies. You were doing all that. But you finally came out when they were on the breaking point, when they were about to finish. Like, why? Why now? Why not earlier? Why not earlier? And you can say Xavier has a point. Like, why not earlier? And Xavier was that then it was then then I think it was uh, Xavier was like, you left us because everywhere we'll go with the, he wanted to, he essentially said that they were getting guilt tripped every week. Along with them having issues, they felt guilt tripped also because people were asking about how was he, and in their minds they were like, yeah, we also care about him. You don't need to ask us anytime. Putting pressure, more pressure on them, along with them not winning the tag title since 3 or 4 years. I think that really adds to what Xavier was saying, that you being there was a loss, but people asking about you was also putting more pressure on us. I think that was a good point too. Cool. Like, that line is freaking crazy. Like, Biggie was like, bitch, I broke my neck. How could I win there? And like Kobe was like, broke your neck, so what? So what? You know, uh, Kurt Angle broke his neck, he was bad. Stone Cold broke his neck, he was like, of course he didn't say it like that, he said it seriously, but he said it seriously, but these are kind of like, you know, the excuses some kind of like, shitty heel would make, which they were making, which kind of showed how, far gone they were. Like, they were really making excuses that someone like a Miz would make on someone. Oh, you broke a neck. And then they were like, Edge broke his neck and he came back, which was, a bad example because it took him 9 years to come back. And then they also brought up the fact that, I broke my, you didn't even require surgery. Xavier said he broke his tendon off his leg. He was out for 9 months, but he came back for you. The emotion that Xavier showed, I think, was really good. Everyone acted their ass off. Of course, Kofi trying to do heel stuff, it showed that he had to kind of force himself to do it, like, because it doesn't come natural to him being a heel. Like, when has he been a heel? Like, it's been years since he has been a heel. While Biggie and Xavier were like acting their asses off, like you could see like the sweat coming down from Biggie's head, like how shocked he was, how helpless he was, and Xavier was like, one tone was like this anger, hatred that he had. I think that was a really good touch. And then, like, he was like, you didn't even require surgery, I required surgery. And these, like, when you hear it, these are so illogical. Something like, like, these are excuses some shitty heels will give. Some people said on Twitter or X that, why were they against each other and now they're back with each other. Like, my point essentially is, remember last week when both of them listed out, how they were essentially losers while they were singles wrestlers, or they, Xavier's ways pissed away their, achievements. I think they both realized subconsciously that they couldn't hack it as singles wrestlers, but they were at a breaking point, and they know they had to find something, beyond the realm of rationality to stay together, to get back together, and as so so they hatched on to Biggie, because then they were like, they can say, yeah, like since Biggie has been gone, like we have lost that touch. If you go back to the search history, like yeah, we have lost that touch. Biggie, he didn't even have the neck surgery. Arey, you had surgery on your knee, and you're like, oh, yeah, what, you know when we were fighting against the final testament, Biggie was there on the pre-show. Biggie was he has his girlfriend, he's posting pics with her on Insta and everything. Yeah, yeah, we have something. So they needed something so irrational to bind them together, and also something that matters to them, and nothing matters more to them than their injured brethren that they can blame. And essentially, he can't do anything to them in return, because they know he his neck, he cannot fight. So essentially, they they said, like Ebo, I think Ebo is the Twitter account that were like, Xavier and Kofi were on like Thanksgiving weekend talking like, you know, N word, Biggie is the problem. And like, yeah, that was essentially the segment. Like, you're not supposed to believe that they are rational, or that it makes sense, because it doesn't. But they do need each other, because they realize they are losers when they're alone. Like, the reason that they came together was because they were floundering. Whenever they went out of their tag stuff, they may have achieved stuff, but they never really, stuck with it in the long term. Kofi did Kofi Mania, but he lost in 6 seconds. Xavier won the King of the Ring, but he got his crown broken by Roman Reigns, and he never really did anything apart from that. Biggie won the world championship, but got pinned in like a month, in a few months or something. He got pinned. So they had to do this, and I think this was this this makes me interested in New Day again. Like, New Day has been, since they turned face, you know I really hated them in when they were going against Daniel Bryan and Rowan, because I thought that they could have booked Bryan and Rowan's tag run way better than they did, other than having like a former WWE champion Daniel Bryan, just because he was in a tag team. Is it just because you join a tag team, essentially, you become kind of a singles wrestler that can lose, every week on national television to people who at that time were not that big of singles wrestlers, and then getting pinned also for the tag title. So I didn't like them that much, and they didn't have any like character progression, which was mentioned by Xavier and Kofi, that because of him, because of them being by his side, being during his neck surgery, or being during his singles run, or him holding Kofi's baby, like, they prevented themselves from progressing because of Big E, which gave them another reason to come together. I think this has made them kind of like the number one heel tag team. Now I want to know, like, what they do in the future with this. Like, do they have New Day win the titles next week, or the week after SNME, due to Damien Priest interference, New Day win, and they're like, we won by our own, but it's essentially, they were at the right place at the right time. You can say that. You can have, someone like War Raiders win it because they lost due to Dom interference. They can win it again. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee are a good shout. Like they are the another face tag team that you have apart from the War Raiders. American made, I think they're going, like their feud with LW is going on, so I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the tag team scene before the Rumble, I think. So I don't know what they do with the titles. Who do they have win the titles? If you have someone's names, please write it in the comment section. Let's have a discussion about it. And then going forward, we see, in the beatdown segment only that we hear rumblings. You know, uh, no, let's go forward to the Gunther versus Dom match, which I think was a very good match. I was I was kind of like, the crowd, like the crowd was not there. They were pretty much into this match. I really liked it, and Dom was, I think Dom, there were callbacks to their first match. Dom learned from them, had a really great, moonsault, two fall. He had the crowd chanting "Dirty Dom" like they were on his side. Then Gunther hit like a, throw up the X sign type power bomb and pinned him. Balor, whenever he's like pumped up, he's really fast. Like you can see, like he was really pumped up. He hit the, I don't know what, sling blade, and then he hit the coup de grace, the three coup de grace, like quick, like under a minute or something. And then he went backstage, and then he was like, oh, uh, give me my title match. And Adam Pearce was like, it takes, like he had a great line. He was like, it takes you like a parliament, bill or something to defend your other title. You need another match. But Gunther has agreed to the match, and at SNME it will be Gunther versus Priest. I mean, I'm not in favor of having Gunther like being like a third wheel in this, prolonged Judgment Day feud. But I think it kind of like, it's not like he's a third wheel, but it's not really a third wheel because it still shows his story as like what his story has been since losing to Cody, that he was underconfident and he wants to prove that he can beat someone on his own. He doesn't need another person's help, which he referenced in a segment earlier when Finn wanted a title shot, but Gunther was like, "I didn't ask for help. Like, like, bitch, I didn't ask you to help both times." I still laugh when I see the clip from Survivor Series where he just like 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 Sparta kicked him like he was like a sack, like fuck away. Like he was like that, and it was like he gave the shot to Dom because Dom had actually beaten Priest a few weeks ago, and that's how the match was made. So Finn attacked him. Gunther was like, "Yes, I agree to the match." So we are having Gunther versus Finn at SNME. The finish, we know the Damien is probably going to come. Gunther is going to win, and I think for the Netflix premiere, they are going to have the the world championship in a triple threat match. I think that's the play forward. I think Gunther is going to defend his title against versus Finn versus Damien in a triple threat match at the Netflix premiere, and I think this will be the direction going forward. And it's kind of telegraphed, but I think they can have a great match if Finn you know, gives his all in the ring. I think if there are long matches with stakes, I think Finn still can have a great singles match because his match against Rollins at SummerSlam in 2023 was like a near 5-star match, like a 4.75 match. It was long and he gave a fuck because it was his program. Like it was his program. So I think Finn has another chance because then I think they will trust Finn to put him back into like that mid card to upper mid card scene, getting him involved with more singles stars. I think be it with the IC title or be it with the world title. I think only then, because otherwise, be it for the past few years, like Finn has been in the tag division only, apart from his feud with Rollins or with his feud with Damien. So I think Finn needs to lock in to have to get the trust back in the management to put him in that mid card to upper mid card scene back again, because they're losing those tag titles soon. I think in a week or two. So now going to the main event, what happened in the Pete Dunne backstage in the another Karrion Cross promo. We are getting the Final Testament versus the White Six next week. Karrion Cross was like, I liked hurting people, but they went too far because they targeted my wife and all. But next week, TikTok, that that stuff. He's a good promo. He just needs to improve his in-ring skills. And strangely, it's a eight-man tag, so it means four men from the White Six and four men from Final Testament, which is going to be Cross, Miz, and Authors of Pain. And I think the Whites is going to be, aside from Nikki Cross, all of them. So I think it's going to be interesting, because I think what's going to happen is either the final test. I think the finish will be probably something like uh, uh, what's her name? What's Karen Cross' name? What's Karen Cross's wife's name? Yes, Scarlett. Like Scarlett will probably get the better of Nikki, and she will try to interfere. Karen Cross. It will look like Karen Cross or the Miz will win the match. Then the lights will go out, and we may get Bliss back. And I think Alexa Bliss may return next week. Maybe, or maybe the Final Testament just beats the White Six, and the White Six are like, we need a sixth member, but they're a spooky group. Why will they be like, what, they in their spooky costumes, just talking normally. We need a sixth member, like Nikki. Go find out. And so I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Alexa may come back, because they had like a Twitter or YouTube promo which happened like last week or this week, where Scarlett did mention that Nikki has done worse to a person that has been close to her, which I think they were referring to Alexa. So I think Alexa may be back with them. I think the only problem with this is, if you have Liv and Raquel going into WrestleMania as a tag champions, like my match for WrestleMania is the White Six versus Judgment Day. Then then maybe it's that Liv and Raquel are busy in the tag stuff, and the White Six versus Judgment Day is just the men's having a tag match. So I think with Alexa Bliss in their corner, so I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So now going to the main event, Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. They didn't have much time left. I think if this was 3 hours, I think we could have had like a banger Seth versus Sami match also, which they had for the world title last year. Which didn't get the ratings which everyone thought they should have gotten. You know, People actually clocked out, but they had a really great match. I think they, but with the time they had, which I saw without ads, I think they had a solid match, which told a solid story. Like, you need to get into wrestling, guys. Like Sammy pulls out a chair and Seth. Like, if it was like an old era of Vince, only a heel would put out a chair on a face, or a face will pull out a chair on a heel. Like, this was just like token baby face, token heel. But no, Sammy is a face. Seth is a face. But Sammy thinks that Seth has beaten up Jay backstage, which we saw in the Pete, Pete Dunne segment, that rumblings, and Jay's beaten up. He's holding his head, so it seems like someone stomped him. But no, Sammy is a face. Like, he's angry because Jay is his oos, and he's like, like, you did it. But Seth is like, no, I didn't. Like, why don't you ask Punk? And I think that line is important, because if you saw at the start of the show, Jay Uso took CM Punk backstage. Seth was with Sami Zayn, so in a way, if someone had a chance to take Jay out first, logically it would have been CM Punk, and he has the reason, like, Jay interfered in CM Punk's and Seth's fight. Uh, so Seth had a logical thing saying like he was like, why would you think that I would do this? Like we are brothers. Like we have been around the world together. Why would I do this? Like I accepted Jay last year. Like why would I beat him all of a sudden? But Sammy was like, you have lost your mind because of Roman Reigns. He was about to hit him, but Seth convinced him. He threw the chair aside. Seth rolled him up, won, and he was not like hey 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 hey, and he was like he was tense. He was like, I know your heart, but you got to use your head, man. Attack I didn't attack Jay, and he won. He went to the ring. He did it at a whoa, and he got a win over Sami Zayn. And then Sammy was, obviously crushed because he realized that Seth didn't attack Jay, and he lost the match, which losing you know kind of matters. Wins and losses kind of matter now. Like it depends. It matters more than it did under wins. So that happens, and he's like that, and I was sure like something is going to happen because they were like focusing a lot on Sami Zayn's face, and the way they turned the camera around and the way Sammy turned around, the baby faces only do that, or the cameraman only do that with someone is returning. It was obvious. Someone comes out in a black hoodie. He hit a claymore. They were not like Michael. Oh my God, who is it? Your testatori was immediately. That's Drew McIntyre because he hit a claymore, and Drew is Drew McIntyre. The hater of the year is back. Like this episode was for the hate and for the haters, and it was awesome. It felt box office. It felt like the A show. It felt like what we felt watching WWE back. I was not watching, but the segments that I watched, it felt like this is a show that I'm watching, not like a wrestling show weekly everything. It's a show that I'm watching. So it felt like that. Drew, the hater of the year, is back, and you know he will slowly, because Seth's anger will go further because it's clear that Drew attacked Jake. He didn't. So Seth will be like, first of all, you're tagging with Roman, who is my sworn enemy. You're tagging with Punk, who I hate. Then you suspect me to attack Jay, which who I accepted last year after all he did, and it wasn't me. And I think this will be how slowly, like what happened with Drew, like how Drew became obsessed with Jey Uso, which resulted in him going too far, and becoming what he is now. I think a Twitter account mentioned this. Seth's person will be CM Punk. His obsession with Punk, like a Twitter account mentioned, will make him cross the line, which I think, many people mentioned on Twitter. Drew, Seth, and KO, the only three people in the company, who are who are like, we remember what Bloodline did. We are not going to help them. Them three going against Sammy, Cody, Sammy, Cody, and Sammy, Jay, and Sammy, Cody, and Jay. I think that's a big match going forward. I think that can be good. I think Drew is going to like slowly get set to the dark side also, because remember, they do have a little bad blood, Drew and Seth, but not that much, because when Drew beat Seth at WrestleMania, Seth was like, you deserve it, you deserve it. They have had bad blood after that also, but it's been more with Punk. They have that link together, and they have the bloodline link together, and they have a mutual respect together too. And I think you will see slowly Drew getting Seth to the dark side. And I think going forward, the anti bloodline team, that will be, a complex storyline, a storyline with layers. heels which are justified, but they are heels, so they are not justified because they go too far, going against the top baby faces in the company, you know, having great time on the mic, in the ring. Like, this is going to be great going forward. Like, SmackDown has to do something, big to, beat Raw this week. Like, this was an awesome episode. I give this like a 4 out of high 4.75 out of 5. But the thing is, for me, it didn't really have a killer match, but the feeling that I have is a 4.75, but an actual rating will be like a 4 out of 5 or 4.25 out of 5 if you go by logic, but the feeling is a 4.75 because of the angles that they did, and the action was not bad and it was actually fine. So I think a great show. So my UPI ID, shavboy @OKICICI, is in the description. Please donate if you can, if you like this content. If you don't, have someone donate who likes this content, because I want to make YouTube a full-time career. So I have to be self-sufficient for that. Follow me on Twitter and Insta. Those links are in the description. Please, if you like the video, if you like the content, like the video, share, subscribe. If you don't like the content, please share it with those who do. Thank you. Goodbye. Alvida.